Are you thinking about how you're redefining your competitive boundaries? Redefining what it means to compete. So let me give you an example. We've worked in cocoa in Cote d'Ivoire since 2008. And we were talking at the table here about cocoa in Cote d'Ivoire. There's about 1 million farmers in Cote d'Ivoire alone who are all small-scale farmers. And the industry produces about 40% of the world's cocoa. So if you have any chocolate today during the day, the cocoa that's in that chocolate is most likely coming from either Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, or Nigeria. It's about 70% of the world's cocoa. And if you add Indonesia, you have 90%. So Cote d'Ivoire, though, needs a massive reinvestment to regenerate that cocoa supply. And it's the one ingredient in chocolate that is irreplaceable. So it is a massive problem for any company, Nestle, Mars, Cargill, ADM, anyone who's a part of that cocoa supply chain has a massive business issue related to the quantity and quality of cocoa. Now, the traditional way of going about this is each one of those companies would have their little program, they would have their little set of investments, they would work with 1,000 farmers here, they'd work with 5,000 farmers there. But there are 1 million farmers in Cote d'Ivoire alone. And in fact, just to give you an example, at one point one of the companies, I won't say which one, made a big announcement. They said, we're going to regenerate 1 million trees for cocoa farmers in Cote d'Ivoire. 1 million trees! Well, there was just one problem. We had done the math, and we realized to regenerate the sector, there were somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5 to 3 billion trees in Cote d'Ivoire. Size of problem, size of commitment, and a huge delta between the two. So, are you redefining your competitive boundaries? Through that work, what we were able to get the industry to see was they don't compete on sourcing cocoa. They compete on things like Kit Kat, or Mars, or M&M's. They compete with consumers. They don't compete on what it looks like to invest in that sector in Cote d'Ivoire. In fact, most of the companies didn't have an employee. They didn't have anyone who even worked there. Yet it was a joint problem that they all had. And time again, you can look at different industries and see they are confronting joint problems that they can't solve on their own, and they're starting to rethink what it looks like to collaborate with one another to address these joint problems. At this event we had with Jeff Sachs, that I mentioned a few weeks ago, it was pharmaceutical and medical device companies. Guess what? Every single one of them in that room invests in healthcare access and delivery in India. Every single one. Doing their own programs, their own activities. And yet, the conversation turns to, in partnership with the government of India, is there an opportunity for us to align because we would all benefit from better healthcare access and delivery, yet our investments on our own are subscale and substandard. So, are you redefining, rethinking about your competitive boundaries, and thinking about the places where, even with your most ardent competitors, you might have a shared interest in improving prosperity that benefits you both?